Welcome to Gulf Coast Financial with John Kuykendall, the CEO and founder of Gulf Coast Financial Services. This program is designed to assist you in bettering your retirement experience through expert and caring financial support. John has degrees from the University of Florida, Louisiana State University, and the Advanced Management Program at Harvard University. He spent 20 years in banking before establishing Gulf Coast Financial Services. John is a certified Kingdom advisor, serving clients with biblical principles and worldviews, and is an active member of the National Association of Christian Financial Consultants. John is also a member of many local charity boards. And now, John Kuykendall presents Gulf Coast Financial.
And welcome into the program. This is Gulf Coast Financial, brought to you by the team voted best of the best in financial services 5 years running by the Lake City Reporter. They are the team from Gulf Coast Financial Services. CEO, founder John Kuykendall here with us as always. John, welcome back in.
Thank you, Peter. It's great to be here. I hope you had a good week.
I did. Always a pleasure to see you. Thanks for joining us.
Well, I'm glad to be here. I'm really excited about today's show.
Well, we've got a good one. And to start off, John, talking a little bit about kind of getting back to basics. We've all really been through a lot here and getting back on track after quarantine. People might not know exactly where to start. And so thought we would cover that. And then with the Independence Day holiday coming up next week, we're going to have a best of program featuring some of the great interviews that we've had on the show over the past year, but encourage folks to tune in for that. But leading up to that, talking about how to create that financial independence that I think we're all in search of and looking for.
Well, you know, a lot of people in a recent survey, a lot of people are very unoptimistic about their financial well-being and their ability to retire. Yeah. And as they well should be, because, you know, right now we have a lot of people out of work still, people drawing unemployment, people that haven't really gone back to work. The economy, while it's moving and our unemployment numbers are going down, not everybody is getting full-time employment right now. So a lot of people are concerned about their financial situation. Before we had the pandemic, very few people had savings that they could use in the case of an emergency. And I think this has taught us a valuable lesson. I mean, you know, it's one thing to say, well, you know, I'm worried about the car breaking down or the roof leaking or things like that. But what happens if you lose your job? And it's through no fault of yours. It's just that the company's not working.
Yeah.
So we have to prepare for things like that. And I'm not sure what the new norm is, as we call it, because, you know, for a long time, 8 weeks, 10 weeks, our city council is still meeting virtually. They haven't even had in-house meetings yet. So a lot of people have been quarantined to their homes, working out of their house, if those that could do that. And they haven't spent a lot of money. They haven't been able to go anywhere. And so now we're taking that time to reassess where we are, where we should be going, and what we're going to do for the rest of our lives and the rest of our retirement.
Yeah, you said learned a valuable lesson, and I can hardly think of any examples where I didn't learn a valuable lesson through a rather painful experience. When everything works out the way it's supposed to, it doesn't seem like that's a real valuable lesson learning opportunity. It always seems to come with a little bit of pain, and we've been through some, but now we've got that lesson, and we want to reassess and we want to move forward from here and get back on track. And then we still have the long-term goal, well, short-term and long-term, as we talked about last week. You got to have both, but we have the long-term goal of creating, establishing, and maintaining our financial independence. And we need to do that through the planning process. And so John Kuykendall and his team is there. John, you serve as that resource. You help people formulate that plan, get it together. And ladies and gentlemen, if you've got questions or concerns that need to be addressed, you want to get that action item list, so a list of priorities, pick up the phone and give Gulf Coast Financial Services a call. They are happy to be a resource for Lake City, for Gainesville, for all surrounding area savers and investors. 386-755-9018. That's 386-755-9018. 9018, 386-755-9018. I guess, John, kind of first and foremost, really need to reassess our current situation on that map, finding where are we now?
Yeah, I mean, a lot of us, as I said, don't have jobs. A lot of us, a lot of the people, their situation, maybe they lost the income for part of the time. So we need to look at where we are. We've been in survival mode. Now we're coming out of that. We need to see what our new norm is as far as spending. A lot of people haven't been traveling. They've canceled vacations. They've had to cancel a lot of things because of this. I just heard the other day that Sturgis may be canceled, which is unbelievable.
I rode through there actually for the first time ever earlier this year. It's a
really
beautiful area. Yeah, really
beautiful
really cool.
area.
You wouldn't imagine that 1 million people could fit into that small town.
They don't fit well, I'll tell you that, but they do fit. But so there's a lot of things that are changing. We need to revisit our monthly budget. We should have a monthly budget of what we're spending and what we're making. And we should be trying to save a little and certainly matching out our 401ks or our deferred comp, whatever kind of retirement plans we have. We need to be doing the best we can, certainly matching out the match if we get one. So, and then I think the third thing is that we need to take baby steps. We're not going to get to a place where we're going to be comfortable with our retirement overnight. It's going to take little bits, little chunks, cut out the debt, cut out the spending, plan for your future. And you've got to do that religiously and continuously.
Yep. And John, there at Gulf Coast Financial Services, you do offer the opportunity for that complimentary review. A large part of the service that you provide is helping people to formulate a plan for action items. And it may be things as small as we're going to need to put new tires on the car pretty soon, or take the kid to the dentist. Orthodontics might be a major expense, to a new roof or a HVAC system, all the way up to how to take the best advantage of my 401k. What should I be doing with my various accounts? Looking all the way out into the future toward what is my tax liability going to be in retirement, and how can I create as much income as possible? But that planning action item to-do list really is the value of the strategy session that you offer, putting that together with folks for folks.
Oh yeah, we love to do that for people. I mean, it's a little bit of work, but it means so much to us to make sure that you understand where you are. And as I've talked about before, the one thing we want our clients to do is we want them to call us so that we can strategize with them before we decide to do something. We just had a telephone call this morning with one of our clients where we talked about converting from his IRA to his Roth and how much we were going to do this year, how that was going to affect his Social Security, and how it was going to affect his taxes and how we were going to pay for it. As we've talked about on this show numerous times, taxes are probably cheaper now than they'll ever be in history. And so if you have an opportunity to do a conversion from an IRA to our 401k to a Roth, now's the time to do it. And so we like to plan that. We love to work around the taxes, do the whole thing for people. It's just part of what we are and who we do, and we're getting pretty daggum good at it, I got to tell you.
Wonderful. Well, I know that there's a lot that goes into figuring out exactly where and how and when and how much should be converted, or what strategies to implement to be as tax efficient as possible. And that's why there's the partnership there at Gulf Coast Financial Services with your sister company, Gulf Coast Tax Advantage, looking at that from both aspects, because it's not what we make, it's what we keep. And we could shoot for higher returns, or we could shoot to be more tax efficient with our money. Oftentimes being tax efficient is just as effective a lot of times with much less risk. And so being efficient with our money, leveraging opportunities to decrease or at least control that tax liability, one of the big additional items that I know that you help your clients and savers and investors address there in that strategy session. Again, ladies and gentlemen, visit online, gulfcoastfinancial.net, a great place to get started. You can find more information there. Give a call, 386 755-9018. That's 386-755-9018. John, are you suggesting, just because of what we have recently been through here, that clients keep a little extra cash on hand? Because we don't know if we're completely out of the woods here yet. And I know a lot of people's cash reserves have sort of been depleted during the last several months as well. So is it time to sort of replenish, or if we did not have a sufficient reserve, make sure that that is kind of up there toward the top of that priority list?
Oh, yeah. You know, we've always said here that you need 6 months of salary in a savings account or somewhere safe, not invested in the market and not where you're going to need it right away, to cover those expenses that you're going to have from time to time without having to incur credit card debt. Certainly now's not a time to go out and spend a lot of money. Now's the time to be more frugal, build your cash reserves back up. Let's see where we're going. We may have a second wave of this COVID-19.
We don't know.
Who knows?
Yeah.
I mean, our numbers are going up. They keep telling us in Florida that we're getting more and more every day. Of course, we've opened up. Disney World's opened up. Everything's open again. So people are traveling. So what happens if a month from now we shut down again? Are you going to be able to handle that? So don't create any obligations for yourself that you don't need. You try to save as much money as you can, put up that cash reserve. And once you get it built up, keep it, because you're going to need it even in retirement. It'd be a lot easier on us if in retirement, when the market's down, people had cash that they could use to take their withdrawals out of to live on. So we wouldn't have to take the money out of the market and lose more money.
Sure. And as we are sort of finalizing our to-do list of items to get back on track, John, checking in with your source for financial guidance and information, with your financial advisor. If you have not checked in with them over the last 5 to 6 months, or maybe even more strongly, John, if they have not checked in with you, it's probably a pretty strong indication that it is time to do so, or maybe even a hint that a review or a second opinion is overdue.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, now's the time. Let's get it done. You know, I read something the other day that 78% of the people in the United States are living on paycheck to paycheck.
Mm-hmm.
Can you believe that? I mean, that
I unfortunately can. Yeah.
In our country, where we have the ability to work and to have anything that we want, we have to be disciplined in doing it. Planning, saving is discipline.
But that's the double-edged sword, because we have the ability to have whatever we want, and in many cases, especially with the access to credit, we have the ability to have whatever we want before we actually have the ability to pay for it, and the discipline often is lacking.
That's right. I mean, you got to remember that the credit card company is not your friend.
Nope.
They want you to pay the interest. They want you to borrow as much as you want, buy as much. But if you can't pay it off every month, then don't buy it.
Right.
Postpone it until you can.
Pay the entire balance off every month. And again, you know, helping people be more disciplined, holding them accountable, part of the job that you do there on the day-to-day budgetary expenses, measuring out and balancing the income and the outflow, and making sure that we are staying disciplined there. But again, more long-term planning, making sure that enough is going towards saving and investing so that someday we can achieve a level of financial success and independence where we don't have to trade our time for money. We don't have to have the concern about our financial situation. John, it's great that we have, again, in this country, the opportunity to achieve that level of financial success and independence and confidence. The problem is that once we reach that, not everybody maintains it. And I think that there's a progression here that we move through in our lives and in our financial progress, where we have to understand sort of the evolution that it takes to have confidence in our financial independence. It sort of all roots back down to the income, but how that is structured changes over time.
Well, sure. And you know, like I said, it's your discipline, how you spend. A very dear friend of mine who's now passed away, my first boss when I got a job in the bank, he told me one time, I got a job in another bank in our sister company, and it was like a $10,000 raise. And back then, that was a lot of money. I mean, I was really happy. I was going to have all this money. And I told him, I said, Lou, I'd love to stay with you, but I can't. I've got to go get that money. I'm going to be able to save all that money because I'm living on what you're paying me, and I'm going to make $10,000 a year more.
Mm-hmm.
And he looked at me and he said, John, just let me tell you something. Your level of spending will rise to your income.
And if you doubt that for a moment, look back over your Social Security statements at how your income has risen over the years and decades. And I think you'll find that, whatever we were able to make, however much our income grew, we probably found a way to live up to that. And that's, again, John, why we need to really look at planning proactively, because there's a perception out there that our need for income is going to fall substantially once we retire. It just doesn't seem to hold true in reality.
There was a planning kind of a law that we used to use that when you retired, we figured up 70% of whatever you were making, and that was what you were going to use in retirement. What we're using today is what you're making now is where we start.
Mm-hmm.
And then we index that for inflation, which gives us even more money because purchasing power goes down every year. So that doesn't work that way. And what we have to do is we have to be disciplined and plan. While we get all this goodness in the United States, we're also responsible for our own retirement. The government's only going to give us that Social Security check, which is, $2,400 if you're lucky.
Mm-hmm.
And that's not going to go very far in retirement. And, if one of the spouses passes away, you only get one check. You don't get to keep both checks. So, we have to plan. We have to save. We have to be disciplined in what we do. We have to come up and look at everything. And why not be as efficient with taxes and everything else? Social Security, we cover the whole gamut. We maximize Social Security, minimize taxes, and work on a retirement plan that you can live with forever. We want you to have that retirement dream.
Well, during our working career, I think, John, what provides us the foundation off which all other forward financial progress is built is the paycheck. The paycheck is our security. It is our financial independence. Perhaps within the window of retirement, the day that we retire, the savings is our sense of financial security. How much we have been able to build and accumulate is what gives us the confidence to make that transition into retirement. But very shortly thereafter, we realize that it's not that lump sum, but the income that we can create from that lump sum that then creates our sense of financial security and our ability to have financial independence. And that evolution, that shift is important to express and understand and to realize in the planning structure, in the way that we have put the assets together.
Yeah. I mean, the thing about it is the day you retire, you don't get any more paychecks.
Mm-hmm.
The paychecks
but you still need them.
You need them, yeah, but they're yours. They're the ones that you've made for yourself and you've saved up for, and you're paying yourself. That's why we really try here to work with sustainable, predictable income. We want to have 3 buckets: a growth bucket, an income bucket, and a reserve bucket, so that we know how much we're going to have and how much we're going to have during retirement. We're as we've said before with Tom Hagney, we're going to spend more money in the go-go years, the 60s, 70s, now up to the 80s, but then we're going to slow down. We're not going to need as much, but long-term care and health costs are going to kick in, and if we're not careful, they're going to be what's going to drive down our retirement. Mm-hmm. So we have to plan through that whole retirement process.
Well, we have spoken on the program over the past several weeks about many of those specific factors that go into the comprehensive plan, about maximizing Social Security, about creating that retirement income, about tax efficiency, about long-term care and survivorship income and legacy planning. Ladies and gentlemen, if you want to go back, a great way to get answers to your specific, or at least get beginning introductory guidance on a specific topic that is of concern and on your mind, is to visit the website gulfcoastfinancial.net, and you can find the archives of the radio programs. You can go back and search by topic or subject. You can like them, you can subscribe to them, you can share them with friends, neighbors, loved ones, family that may need that information, that may be looking for answers on a particular topic. But kind of a rhetorical question I'd like you to ask yourself: how prepared do you feel? How confident are you in your ability to achieve and maintain financial independence on a scale perhaps of 1 to 10? 10, you're completely relaxed and unconcerned about your financial situation and not making any plans to change anything in your retirement strategy at all, versus not very comfortable at all. Anywhere in between, you probably owe it to yourself to get a review and evaluation. Even if you're at that 10, John, you can give people the reassurance and a pat on the back that they're doing the right thing. But oftentimes you've got a trained eye. You spot and identify holes that may have been left unaddressed, or at least ways to strategize and leverage dollars or be more efficient with them.
Well, sure, Peter, one of the things that we look at is the distribution of the assets. So you may be taking distribution. I've seen many cases where we've looked at a plan and found out that we were drawing money out of the wrong accounts. And it was costing us taxes, costing us on our Social Security, because more of our Social Security was taxed. So there are many things in these components that we look at. You maybe have a wonderful plan. You may have a lot of money, and that's great. But, what we want to do is make sure that we're ready for everything that's going to happen to us during retirement. We just met with a client the other day who's got Parkinson's, and we're concerned about long-term care. He has none.
Sure.
We were able to reposition a little over $400,000 of his assets and give him $100,000 a year for 5 years worth of long-term care benefit, or $50,000 and $50,000 a year for as long as he lives. I mean, where else can you get that?
Yeah, those
are the kind of things we look at.
Leveraging of dollars to provide additional protection. And there are opportunities out there to get those type of vehicles in place, to get those opportunities aligned with your goals and your situation, ladies and gentlemen. And that's what the planning review is all about. Again, we have been through a lot here recently, but for all of us, I think that our short-term, mid-range term, and long-term goal is to have a sense of financial security, independence, and well-being. And John Kuykendall and his team there at Gulf Coast Financial Services can help you structure the plan to achieve that sense of security and confidence, or to at least get you on the road toward it. Pick up the phone, give a call. They do offer that opportunity on a complimentary, no cost, no obligation basis for listeners to this program, savers and investors. If you're serious about your planning and your financial future and willing to invest a bit of your time, they are willing to donate some of theirs to put that plan and that action item checklist together. 386-755-9018. That's 386-755-9018. And again, John, we emphasize it all the time, but the plan is what gives us the guidelines for building that financial freedom and the confidence that we are on the way there.
Right. And if you don't have one, you need to quit procrastinating. Get one now.
Indeed.
It's the only way to make sure that you're going to have the retirement you dream.
Yeah. There is no benefit from procrastinating. There's no downside to placing that call. There is no need to meet in person to get answers to specific financial questions or concerns that have been on your mind. They can do that with direct questions over the phone, direct answers to your questions, or that review and strategy session, either in person, because John, you are reopening there, you are offering in-person reviews, or the ease, the convenience, and the safety of technology, perfectly capable of conducting those reviews virtually as well.
Yep, we did one of those this morning, had a virtual review, shared our screen, showed them their statement, showed them what we've done, showed them where we were headed, looked at their taxes, did everything online. It's amazing how far we've come because we've had to.
Indeed, we've all sort of been pushed along here in our friendliness with technology. It's great until it isn't sometimes, but still, it's kind of a necessary part. Well, you have to have a plan if you are taking your planning, your financial future, and your financial independence, freedom seriously. You have to have that plan in place. Pick up the phone, give a call. Gulf Coast Financial Services, your resource, Lake City, throughout Gainesville, area savers and investors. The number to call, 386-755-9018. That's 386-755-9018. Visit online, gulfcoastfinancial.net. Excellent website, tools, calculators, resources, reports, and of course, previous editions of the podcast where you can like, subscribe, and share those. John, we always appreciate your time, the guidance that you provide.
Thank you, Peter. It was great being here.
And have a happy Independence Day week ahead.
Oh, yeah. I'm looking forward to it. We're going to have a great time getting the pool. I hope you do too.
Wonderful. Well, we appreciate the time as always. And John and his team there at Gulf Coast Financial Services, they're looking forward to hearing from you, ladies and gentlemen. Pick up the phone, give them a call, 386-755-9018. We'll talk to you soon.
The information presented on this program is provided for informational purposes only, without warranty of accuracy, completeness, or suitability for a particular purpose. This program is not intended to be and does not constitute financial, investment, legal, or tax advice. This information is general in nature and not specific enough to be construed as advice. You should not make any decision based on the information presented on this program without independent consultation with an appropriately licensed professional or competent advisor. Investment in securities or the market involves a potential risk for loss of principal. Trading, therefore, may not be suitable for all listeners. Annuity guarantees are based solely on the financial strength and claims paying ability of the issuing company. Withdrawals of growth from annuities may be taxable as ordinary income in the year it is taken. Individuals should review contracts for specific details of the product's features and costs. Early withdrawals may subject the owner to penalties, fees, or taxes. John Kuykendall is registered with and securities are offered through Kovac Securities Inc., member FINRA SIPC. Kovac Securities, found online at www.kovac. Advisory services are offered through Gulf Coast Financial Services Inc., a registered investment advisor in Florida. Gulf Coast Financial Services Inc. is not affiliated with Kovac Securities Inc. or Kovac Advisors Inc.